have a few different targets to go to, right? It's not just the customers that you're looking for, which you said that I can think they're about 400, give or take.
Hmm.
So we're not going to those, but we want those to call you, right? We want those to get referred to you somehow, right?
Hmm.
And so how do you get referred into those? How do you get them somebody saying, "Oh, you should get Ian a jingle," or when eventually when you do somehow have a conversation, you go, "Oh, maybe somebody that they know, or there's maybe you've heard of us through this way." Uh, anyway, so what you want to do is get um, so the people that you talk to, the people that you talk to, you said were vendors. So what kind of vending do they do? How do they fit into this, or
Yeah,
where are they in
yeah,
this?
yeah. So one of them does. Uh, you can think of it as advising biotech. She started a couple of biotech companies, and so she's tied in and advises a cohort of 20 biotech companies,
What's a cohort?
a group of 20 biotech facility
So she's got
biotech
20
companies.
clients that she advises
Yeah,
that are customers, potential customers.
about half of them are potential customers
Okay.
To you.
to me. Yeah.
So when she brought this up, so you just know this woman deals with them, so you want to approach her about getting, okay, so if she's advising them, and I know one of the things that we talked about previously was that the companies that you want to manufacture for have problems with their current manufacturing facilities. Maybe they're 2 years to get in, so there's a need, right? There's a need
Hmm.
to find a better resource. So if she's advising them, she also understands that they have that need,
Hmm.
right? So, I mean, wouldn't that be the conversation with her?
Hmm.
Like, what's her first name?
Irene.
So I'd be like, hey, Irene, this is Ian. I wanted to reach out to you, blah, blah, blah. I know you're doing this. You're advising these companies. And then I'd go right into question mode. I go,
Hmm.
hey, my experience has been dealing with companies that are similar, that they're having problems with the manufacturing piece. She knows this already. So she's going to go, yeah, that's one of the things that we run into, right? So now you get into almost, I don't want to say pitch because I hate the word pitch because it sounds like it's a pre-made kind of thing, but um and then now you got to explain to her what you've got going on and what you're doing and saying, look, I can help alleviate some of those problems, because wouldn't you rather have that problem dealt with so you can advise them on something else? Because those are
Hmm.
hangups. They're like bottlenecks, right? Like if I have a manufacturing issue, I can't get to other stuff until the manufacturing piece is on the right track. And waiting 2 years as opposed to possibly 6 months,
Hmm.
that's a pretty substantial difference. That's 25% of the time. And then I would go, would that help you and your clients out? Always seek agreement on key issues, right? I'd tie
Hmm.
down.
Hmm.
John, you were
How
going
do
to
you
say
does
something?
she know what you do already?
Yeah, she's familiar with the deal. Yeah.
Okay, but you just haven't approached her to connect you with the people that she consults.
Correct. Yeah, she's mentioned, like, I work with these companies. This could be interesting at some point in the past, but that was sort of that was the extent to which that was pursued.
Got to ask her questions, man. This is all about discovery. It's
Hmm.
question asking. Oh, you work with companies that do the same thing as the clients that I'm looking for. And then ask her, like, well, what kind of problems do you guys see when it comes to your manufacturing, especially when you're coming out with a new drug? And
Hmm.
let her go. Because I'm not saying, do you have problems? That's that yes or no thing that we always talk about. We ask an open ended question. What kind of problems do you guys deal with when it comes to manufacturing? And then she's going to, and if you just listen, I don't think I know, she'll tell you, because it sounds like you have decent enough rapport with her.
Yeah.
She'll tell you some of the similar problems that you're hearing from other potential clients.
Hmm.
And then what your job is, right, is to come up with a solution or
Hmm.
a possible solution to that, and then go, hey, you know what we should do? And I always act like it's the first time I heard this, right? I
This
act
is a
like
this is the technique he's showing you right here. This is a big deal to use.
this, it works like a charm, because it's almost like if it's too polished, they get like, it's too polished. But I go, you know what we should do? Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I reach out to the clients that she deals with that have the similar need. And why don't you let them know that I'm going to be reaching out to them, or even here's my information, give me theirs as well. So if they don't call me, I'll call them, kind of thing. Whatever it is, you always want to try to get the information, not just pass yours on. Because that's what a lot of people do. They go, well, just give me your information, I'll pass it on. They go, well, hey, why don't we do this? Who were you thinking? Or, kind of narrow it down and try to get their contact information and not rely on just them calling you. You know what I'm saying? But I always go, you know what? Doesn't that sound like I've said this? John
A million
said this
times.
a million times. I go, you know what we should do? And then they go, you have kids, right?
Yeah.
You have little kids? Do you ever go, hey, do you know what we should do? Immediately the behavior of the child changes. They go, what? Right?
Yeah.
It's ingrained in us to do that. So when you do that in this scenario, go, you know what we should do? And she'll tune right in. It's an attention. It brings them to you to make sure they're focused on what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
and if you've asked those questions, like you're just like, it's like she doesn't see you coming. You go, what kind of problems do you guys have with manufacturing? Oh, no kid. You know what we should do? And that's a little over dramatic, but I kind of do it close. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But when you ask a question, it's why presentations don't work very well and conversations work great. Because in a conversation, like I think one of the things we talked about yesterday, we'll cover it now. One of the things that we do is that most companies have a brochure that's all about them. We don't. We have a brochure that's all about them. Or everybody has a brochure about themselves, right? Their company. Oh, we're great. J.D. Power and Associates ranked us #1 in the. Nobody gives a rat's behind, right? They really care about themselves. They hope that you have a good product, but they really care about that they get a good product or a good experience, whatever they're buying. And so when you're telling, people just close off. 2.5 minutes into even listening to somebody that you love with all your heart, you take a bullet for, you're tuned out. You're out. I remember listening to Alex give his senior speech, and I love him. I'd die for him. But 2.5, I was videotaping it, and I noticed that about 2.5 minutes,
The
when I
camera
watched
started
it
going
again,
down.
I faded. Right, I faded. And I'd literally die for the kid, and I was fading out at 2.5 minutes. It's just how we are. So. And that's telling. But if you're asking questions, that activates your brain because somebody's saying, "Oh, they're asking me something." So brain goes, "Hey, you better stay tuned because they're asking you something. And you're going to have to respond." So asking questions is just a big thing. And also, they get to be part of the process. And that's
Right.
why at the end of a pitch, a presentation, when people go, "Oh, I have to think about it," it's because you didn't give them the opportunity to participate in the conversation, and ask questions along the way because you
Right.
presented. So when you have these conversations and you ask questions like Chuck did, and if you sound like it's not scripted questions, like in our brochure, the about them piece is what we call it. We have a guide, sort of a guide that our salespeople are supposed to use conversationally. Hey, how'd you get into this business? Where do you want to go? What have you experienced? If you could change one thing, all these things. It should be in a conversation, not necessarily. How'd you get into this business? Okay, because that's less appreciated than when it's like, well, how'd you get into this business? And that sort
Right.
of, and so that's why when Chuck's saying, hey, you know what we should do? Now you go, okay, this all fits, right? This
Right.
technique of conversing and asking questions and leading. It's leading the conversation by
It's
asking
leading.
questions.
Because
It's
you
called
have an
leading, yeah.
objective here. Yeah, you're leading. You have an objective. Excuse me. The objective is to uncover their problem first. You can't just go
Right.
in and go, oh, that sounds like we have a mutual customer. You know what we should do? No. You got to lead in to uncover the problem first. Because you know what doesn't keep people up at night is what your rating is with JD Powers and Associates. What keeps them up at night is their problem. That's what keeps people up. So I have to uncover that problem, and then when I go, you know what? It's like in their mind, it's like, oh, a solution's coming, a good idea. I need to tune into this because that's something that I'm having difficulty working through. But you definitely got to lead them. You got to ask all the right questions to uncover that before you. Otherwise, that
Yeah.
won't work.